All right, we are live. I am joined today with a guest, Steve O'Reilly, who does amazing coaching, helping you get started with something that you really enjoy in life. Because too many of us spend decades of our lives in jobs we don't like, on paths that we don't know how to get out of, kind of feeling trapped. So we've got some help for you today to really uncover what it is that you're actually going to feel fulfilled by in life and how to get started on that. Welcome.
All right. Thank you. Great to be here.
Would you like to start by telling us a little more about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, I guess my journey has been many years of um, kind of started out in my hometown, got a job in the paper mill, welding trade, 6 years. I was last one in, first to go in the big layoff. And everybody had said, Steve, you got it made. You're going to retire out of there. And it's like, wow, I'm feeling pretty good about it, and all of a sudden I'm let go. So I had a family, a couple of kids, and some pets, and what are we going to do? It was a big shock, but I didn't take it that way. I just said, well, we'll find something. And I said I wanted to be the guy that did the sales, showing us new gases and new welding products and that type of thing. So I got that job and went into it with a great attitude. Just like that's how I'm made up. I think just good attitude is always half full or better.
Yeah, we
It's
see the
not half full, it's
opportunities.
almost half full, right? So with that attitude, just kind of helped increase my opportunities within the company, and would take advantage of any opportunity that came along. So when you work and you're carrying a good attitude and you're in front of people all the time and you get to help and serve people, that's the way I took the job, and really enjoyed the career. Quit, joined the competition, and then in 2008 got let go and became an entrepreneur and did a number of different things. That's a whole other podcast to just search and find what's next, what do you really want to do, right? So I've always enjoyed sales and helping people, so ended up in the investment business and really, I guess, tried different things. I was a stockbroker for 6 months and didn't really enjoy it, didn't learn a lot about it, I guess, enough to be dangerous probably, but wasn't making anybody any money. Really enjoyed private investments in real estate. And after a while, just kind of got down in the dumps, feeling kind of depressed. And I was walking down Calgary, if anybody is familiar with Canada and Alberta. So Calgary is one of the cities in the west here in Canada, and oil and gas is the main industry in Alberta, and Calgary is kind of the office vision of that. Anyway, I'm walking down the street. I had just brought in a trade. It didn't seem like it was much money. The commission was very low on it, and I was kind of just feeling pretty down about things. Come to the corner of Third Street and Fourth Avenue, and there's a guy with an, a couple with him. The two men are dressed in top hats, and they were all dressed very nice. And he's trying to take a picture, a selfie with the three of them, and get the store in the background. So he's struggling with it. Excuse me. So I have to ask him, can I help you? Oh, yes, my good man. Take my phone. I'm just going to walk these people to their car and I'll be right back. If you give me 3 minutes. I said, yeah, sure. He said, just go in the store there and wait for me. So I go in the store and I'm waiting around, and up over the door, he had a caption that said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I kept looking around the store, and then I kept going back to that, reading that phrase over and over and over again. I don't know how many times I read it. And anyway, he shows up a few minutes later and we have a great conversation. He's telling me a number of different things, asking me all kinds of questions. And anyway, 10 or 15 minutes later, it's like, hey, I got to get going. great to meet you. Hope to see you again sometime. And off I go. And I'm driving home, and I'm just thinking, like, that phrase, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And then after listening to the guy and just enjoying the conversation, I thought, wow, what a great guy, just so positive and so, it's like, I used to be like that. And it was at that moment, that part in the highway, I always remember it. It was like it clicked. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it was like, that's what I needed to do. I needed to change. The way I was looking at things was just, it was negative. And that was the start of it.
I love
So
the perspective that you have now when you talk about all these different things that you tried. And I think about my past and all of the different industries and jobs that I tried. And I always felt like I was failing all the time. Like I'm not good at anything. I'm like to such a brat that I'm not like able to just do this job like everybody else does. And I hated myself for that. But when I listened to you talk about, yeah, I did this, and then I decided to give this thing a try, and then I discovered this thing, and I went and did that, and it has such a lighter feeling about it, and it's the same
I
story.
guess,
So it really is like in the perspective.
yeah, well, I guess I'm from Newfoundland. So in Newfoundland, we say it's all in the way you hold your mouth, right? So you can be frowning about everything, and be down in the dumps and hate things, or you could be smiling about things and feeling good about things. And hey, that didn't work out, but gonna try something else, you know.
Yeah, there's
So I
endless
guess
opportunities out there, and you can keep on trying till you find one that suits you, or one that suits you for a while, for a season, then try something
exactly
else.
right. But all the time you're learning, and all the time you're doing your best at the job. And when you can't do your best at the job, then it's time to move on, right? It's time to move on. So, for anybody looking for change, here's a book. It's certainly not my book, but let me just put that up there. The Four Agreements. Don McGill Ruiz. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, but brilliant book. It's a short book, real easy read, and man, the Four Agreements just makes so much sense. And one of the agreements is do your best at whatever you're doing. You hate that job. All right, well, do your best at it, and you will find your way out of it. Right? Someone will notice that, well, he always does a good job. Maybe he'd be good for this other job, or whatever it is. You'll search for something else, and you'll find something else, and you'll be able to quit that job. Right? But you don't want to be showing up with a shitty attitude and just not doing a good job, because if there is ever a promotion, you probably ain't going to get it if if you're thinking that way, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's so true.
do a
I've
good
heard
job,
of the
right?
Four Agreements, but I've never read it, so I'll have to add that to my list.
Yeah, it really is. Um, all like for 3 years, I've been studying something else. But when I read this just a few days ago, one of the guys that I'm following mentioned it in his presentation. It's like, hey, we got that in the library. I got to go get that. So I go out, sure enough, it's there. And I sit down, I read it. I'm probably halfway through before I stopped reading. It was like, it is light reading, but it's so powerful. Like it'll resonate with everybody.
Mm,
Yeah. So
amazing.
that's definitely a good one. If you're looking for change, looking to see if there's something else for you, then start there. Like it's a really good eye opener, right?
And you're in the process now of transitioning to something new. I know you're
Yes.
moving and starting some new stuff. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I guess getting back to that moment of truth when you change the way you look at things and things you look at change. Um, I went on a search then, and I found a mentor, and I watched, he's got a ton of stuff on YouTube and anywhere, Facebook, like, got a good social media marketing group. And he's been doing it for 60 years. And so I started watching a video every day, just listening to him talk about something else and another idea, another concept, and then, go back and listen to that one again, because as I'm making notes, anyway, I ended up buying into the program. And then it was a 13-month program where it broke down a lot of these things he's talking about into, chapters or even books. So now you got a set of books to review and go through, and it was very helpful. Like, and he could explain it in such a easy way. Like it just resonated with me, right? So I picked up on it right away. Really liked what he said and his story and everything. And I mean, watching him every day on videos or reading something that he's done or suggested, and I really thought I was going to meet him one day. But on February the 3rd of this year, he passed away. And I was really disappointed that he passed away. And I felt sad. I really wanted to meet him. I really thought I would meet him. And his name is Bob Proctor. For anybody that knows Bob Proctor, the Proctor Gallagher Institute.
Before. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's been at it for 60 years. Wow. 60 years is a long time. And he's developed some excellent programs, and just the way he can explain how your mind works, and the paradigms that we have. You were just mentioning, when you were doing some of these jobs that weren't suited for you, you thought it was your problem, right?
Yeah.
but we all have these beliefs in our mind that we're born with, that were developed by our parents because they thought it was the right thing. Our teachers, they thought this was the right thing. And, people that we've worked with, our friends, but in the meantime, it's not. A lot of that we believe is not even true. And they're mistakes that we're told. And they just get generated from, culture to culture, or parent to child to grandchild to great grandchild,
And so often it does come from a good place, from wanting to give your children the best. And but it's not always
like
the best thing for them.
Go to school, work hard, get good grades, and get a good job. When you land a good job, keep it. Right? You'll have benefits, you'll get a pension, and it's like, wow. Well,
here in America, you'll have health insurance. You can't leave your job; they're giving you health insurance.
Yeah, but in the meantime, your soul is just dying, and it's just too hard to go to work every day. And when it gets like that, well, then you got to quit and just work yourself into that. When you know your job is not fulfilling you, and you got to drag yourself in there, and you don't like the people you're working with, and you don't like the work you're doing, how long are you going to keep doing it? So when you're when you're finding your way, it's you got to ask a lot of questions, right? So the first question is, you're at this point in your life, who are you? My machine is blinking off and on. I'm not sure if yours is or not.
I'm not seeing any issues on this side.
Just cut out twice and then repopulated itself on the webpage, it seemed like. But as long as yours is working, that's all good.
Mine's working, so hopefully it's going out okay to everybody.
So yeah, we're just talking about finding your way, and how do you find what you want, right? So you can listening to one gentleman, Dean Graziosi, another good mentor, and he's a high energy guy, a big marketing guy, so positive, comes from a real rough background, growing up was tough, and I didn't have that background, but I related to the guy, like just the stuff he was saying was pretty good. In sales, you get to experience a lot of that stuff. And just his positivity was what attracted me to him, and it's so good to listen to. So yeah, he's got a few books and stuff too. But he was saying, go and ask some people what you always talk about, what you are good at, right? What do they think of
That's
you
like
as your
on
skill?
Facebook, they have that meme that goes around that's like, if I were going to give a TED talk on anything, what do you think it would be? And then you get
Right.
that feedback from your friends of what they think that
Yes.
you're really passionate about.
Yeah, because you might be thinking about it all the time and talking about it all the time, but not even realizing because you're stuck in this dead end job and kids are driving you crazy, and you're supposed to be here and there and somewhere else, so you're driving all the time and frustrated, right? And you don't
Mm-hmm.
even know it until someone starts asking you questions. So you're at this point in your life. Did you think you would be that much further? Who are you? Like, who are you? Strip away all the labels. You're not mom, you're not dad, you're not son, you're not friend, you're not. Who are you? When you look in the mirror and it's only you, who do you say you are to yourself? Are you a good person? Do you like yourself? Do you hate yourself? Do you got weight on? You're out of shape? How do you look at yourself? Like your self image, you got to love yourself first.
Mm.
You are the most important person in your life. So you got to start looking after yourself. Who are you? Ask those questions. So trying to determine what you want, you got to determine who you are, and then you got to determine where you are. You're at this point in your life, and no good to feel down about it or mad or upset. It's like, take a breath and start to realize, like, you're becoming aware because you're asking some of these questions. All of a sudden now it's like, oh, never thought about it like that, or I never thought about it at all. This is pretty interesting. Yes. So, and it doesn't happen from reading a book. It doesn't happen from listening to this podcast or anyone in particular, because we've all got shelf help, right? We call it shelf help. You read it and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. I got to do that. And it's like, yeah, there it is on the shelf for the last 10 years. And I didn't even read it until today, but I read it. Right. So yeah, it's an awareness, first of all. So if you can be aware of your thoughts, like, just be aware of what you're thinking. And once you start to do that and realize, catch yourself when you're being negative. If someone says something, yeah, but you can't really do that. It's like, wait a minute, that's negative. So just remind yourself, oh, probably shouldn't do that. And the
Stop being
more,
negative.
the more aware you are of your thinking, the more you'll catch yourself doing negative things and thinking about yourself the same way. It's like, stupid. What did I do that for? Dropped it, look, and spilled it. And you're so stupid. You can't talk to yourself like that either. That's accidents happen. If you were perfect, you'd be doing something else, right?
You wouldn't be
So,
human.
so you can't talk to yourself to say, stupid. I hate myself. I hate this. I hate that. That's really hard way to live your life. So, not that everything is positive and rosy, but just being aware of how you think that's the first step. Awareness, right?
Definitely.
So you become aware and then start writing. And people just, I don't know, some people I talk to are not interested in having a journal, and a diary and all that. It doesn't have to be a journal or a diary. You can write it on a sheet of paper, but just the practice of writing makes this thing work that much better, right?
Mm.
So it causes you to think. So if you have some questions, who am I? Where am I in my life, in my career, in my relationship? Where am I going? Where do I want to go? Do I have goals? I got goals for today. Well, I'm hoping to have lunch at noon, right? Because yesterday I was late. Didn't have lunch till quarter after 12. Still had to work back to work at my desk at 12:30. Right? I mean, is that the life you want to live? Probably not. A lot of people are stuck in it. You mentioned it right at the opening, when you're stuck and you're chasing that job that you've been in for way too long and you don't enjoy the people you're around or what's happening. And yeah, that makes it really tough. So when you're writing things down, you'll start thinking differently. You'll see a pattern, but you really have to find the time to write those questions down and write those answers down. And then when you start to see the patterns and you're starting to change that into a habit, and it could be just take 30 minutes. Remember, a friend of mine, a guy I used to work with, said, "Well, I'm getting up half an hour early, and I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to read." And I had already been reading. I've been reading now for 4 years. Like I've never really taken reading and studying seriously since I left school, or if I did a life insurance course a few years ago, so I studied that. Stock brokerage, I studied that, but nothing study every day. I don't have to study every day. Well, doing the Bob Proctor stuff, I want to. I'll read late into the night if I have to, but something gets read or some video gets watched or somehow I'm working on me, right? Because that's what it is. I'm working on me. So take the time to create a habit, at least 30 minutes, and just find a quiet place, calm your mind, breathe, and then just start thinking about things you'd like to have. Do you want a new car? Do you want a new truck? Do you want a new job? Do you want a new wife? Do you want a new child? Some of those things you can work on. Others, work on you, right? Work on you. So there's another, well, that's part of the awareness as well. Like you start writing and you start writing down things you want. And pretty soon, you start thinking about it. If you're thinking about it every day about something that you want, it's like, well, I don't know how I'll ever get that. That's not your job to know how. It's just your job to know what it is. Find out what it is. Search your mind. Get creative. Use your imagination. Um, all those things. Like if there's something that you've always thought about, but never going to mention that to anybody. I want to be a movie star, or I want to be a doctor, or but it's too late for me now. Well, hey, if you got a passion for it, it's never too late. You'll find new energy by doing something that you were getting excited about, right? So if that becomes the drive or the passion, and you light it on fire, you will have way more energy for everything. Your days will become more productive. You'll be feeling better. You'll get in shape easier and quicker, and you're just going to change your attitude towards things and realize that, hey, this is what I want. All right, well, nobody's stopping you but you.
That is so true. And you can do a pretty good job at stopping yourself.
Yeah, well, we all do, right? There's a book that Bob Proctor mentions, psycho-cybernetics. So it's like a thermostat in your house, right? So you turn the thermostat up to 72, you're sitting around, everybody's comfortable. We turn it up to about 20 here in Canada. We're comfortable at 20, but we're on Celsius, you're on Fahrenheit. So so let's go at 20 or 72, right? Nice and comfortable. And then all of a sudden someone goes out, didn't close the door's open, it's January, and things are cooling down in the house. The temperature is dropping down off of 20 or 72 into 70 or 68. And the furnace kicks in because it knows that's my job. It's to get you back on track and get you back to 72, right? That's where it's set. And the book, I haven't read it yet, but that'll be the next one on the list. Um, the book, as he talks about it, your mind has that thermostat. So if you're making $50,000 a year and the most you've ever made was 65,000, then you will not accept a job for more than $65,000. And it's funny how we find that. And being an entrepreneur, I've been fortunate enough. I've had a year where I made $250,000, and it was pretty exciting, and we really enjoyed it. But those years, fell off, and then you start thinking differently, and it's like, oh man, what do I need to do? You got to just think bigger, right? Your mind has what we call the paradigm, the set of habits and beliefs that keep you stuck at whatever level that's going to be. You're stuck there. Okay, well, how do we get past that? Well, start thinking about things, become aware, ask yourself those questions, those tough questions. Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? What have I set for goals? And then as you become aware, as you set goals, as you start to lean towards those goals, and if you're doing things on a regular basis that you don't enjoy, well, don't do those things, and keep writing and keep listing things and keep starting to believe. Like, it just doesn't happen overnight. So you got to create some little habits. And if you can push out those habits out of your paradigm and shift your paradigm to think, I guess I really can do that. I just did. Okay, my next goal is a little bit more, a little bit higher. So, all those things, it's really about how you think and how you think about yourself and how you think about others, I guess. Your purpose is to serve and help others and be creative in doing whatever it is that you want, as being passionate about, helping people with their marketing, right? Yeah. You found that finally, right? You went through all those jobs and didn't know, and then you landed on this one, and it's like, hey, you're good at it, right?
Yeah, completely different experience.
Yeah, right. And
but that money mindset stuff and the limiting beliefs around money, it's very powerful. It's hard to push past.
Yeah. Well,
even like a fear of success, a fear of being too visible. Like, I want to succeed. I want a thriving business. But then the other half of you going, yeah, but then like, what if you can't perform? What if something goes wrong? What if, and it's like trying to keep you small.
Well, part of the exercise of writing things down is a what if scenario. But I use it completely opposite.
You use it in a positive way. I already know. You're doing it in a glass is almost half full way.
Yes. Yeah. It's not quite empty. It's almost half full. So part of the exercise, we write things down, right? Write things down that you want. That's how you start. What do you want? Do you want a new truck? Okay, well, say you want a new truck. Don't worry about getting it or anything else. And write it every second line, right, on the page. So just take a full page and use every second line. What do you want? And write that sentence in. Then go down through, and under every line of things you want, write the reason why you can't have it. Because there's a reason you can't have it, right? Can't get that new truck, you don't have enough money. Can't get that new vacation, can't get the time off, can't afford it. Whatever the reasons are, write it underneath why you can't do it. Then do the what if scenario. What if I had enough money to buy the truck? What if I had enough money to go on vacation? What if I quit my job and got healthier and had way more energy to do what I want. All those what ifs, put them into as part of the exercise. And pretty soon it's like, okay, wow, you know what? You've got, if you took 30 days and really kind of made an effort, make an effort for a week, make an effort for 30 seconds to just stop, close your eyes, excuse me, take a breath, let your mind slow down. Just slow it down. Excuse me. When you start slowing your mind down, then you can think better. If someone says something to you, you don't want to react. I've never been, I can't say I've never been quick enough to react, because I've got a pretty good wit, pretty sharp wit, and I'm pretty quick, right? And when it comes to making some jokes or carrying on a conversation with a bit of fun in it or whatever, then I can do that. But if someone actually came up to me and said something to me that, was meant to hurt me or embarrass me or whatever, I don't think I'm fast enough to react, because I wouldn't want to hurt their feelings or, and that's not always the case, certainly. And have reacted in the past, but I got to take a bit of time, run that through my mind, what they said. Why did they say that? Did I do something? Am I wrong? I got to play that scenario in my mind.
As they say on Reddit, am I the asshole?
Yeah, right. And so then if you react and you blow up and you come back and you swear at them or whatever, then that's a reaction. Excuse me. Tickle there this morning.
We're making you talk for too long.
Yeah. If you slow your mind down and you think about things, then you would respond if someone said something to you in that way, right? So a response is better than a reaction, right? So you just want to respond. You want to slow your mind down, think about things, take it easy. If things are just so confusing and so frustrating, something's got to change. And usually, or not usually, but in some cases, people will have a heart attack or a stroke or just get so stressed out, they'll panic attack. And then your mind is on fire thinking all the wrong things. I'm going to grab a glass of water. Be right back.
Okay, we don't usually have an intermission, but I guess that's what we're doing today, because you never know in a live show what's going to happen. I think it's interesting if you look back at the past few weeks of interviews here, the same themes come up again and again and again. A lot of different stuff around the importance of mindset, and people bring it up in different ways and different examples, but I think that we have the same themes always return because they're true about how important our mindset is to success. Welcome back.
It's everything. It's 95% mindset. 95% mindset. You got to learn to do things in a certain way. You don't have to learn, well, you got to learn to do certain things too. Find a craft, get good at it, focus on it. Don't be distracted. That was my problem for 4 years. 4 years. Yeah. And that's
once it gets
part
challenging,
of the reason.
then you're like, well, something else might be easier. Let me try that.
Yeah, or just more lucrative or more interesting or whatever. Always more lucrative, hopefully, right? So when we decided to move here at the end of last year, so we move out now at the end of the month. So we got another 28 days here, and this was our dream property, right? A 4-acre lot outside of Calgary. loved everything about it, right? And anyway, it was just, I wasn't working, finding the right thing to earn enough to get comfortable, to be comfortable, to be able to, spend some money on the property, to be able to travel. And so things were getting tight. And the tighter it got, all this up here just shut down. Everything I was learning was shutting down. I was like, no, And then as I'm trying to find a client, it's like desperation where you got to have that client, right?
You're that panicked state.
And
Not good.
that is just not at all a good way to do business. So I mastermind with a friend of mine and a couple of other guys every now and again. And he was really struggling as well. And he told me he had to, the bills were piling up, the jobs weren't coming in. And he got another email. It was like an $800 bill attached to it, right? And it's like, and he lost it. And he said, through that whole freak out that he did, he had to surrender. And I thought, wow, that's perfect. That's what we did here with the property. We're in a hot market. We could take advantage of it. We could, unload, downsize, change, right? Change. We sold the house. It was like, oh, it's a big deal. Well, it is if you want to make it a big deal, or hey, you turn the page, right? Here's an opportunity. Turn the page, and now what are we going to do, right? In a good way, not oh my God, now what are we going to do? It's what are you going to do?
You gave yourself some breathing room. You gave yourself a new start.
Yeah. So now we're in that process, I guess, and excited to make the next move. We found a place, so now we've got a month to move into it. Takes all the pressure off, right? So we can decide, okay, well, the furniture doesn't quite fit there. So we don't have to take that furniture or use this, don't use that, storage for this, storage for that. And anyway, that's a bit of a process too, but it's change, right? And if you're looking to do what you want, then you're probably going to have to change something. And if you're not going to change anything, then nothing's going to change. I'm sure there's another way we could twist that phrase around.
Yes, that's a good point. You have to be willing to let some things go to be able to blossom into whatever the future is.
Yeah, and don't look back thinking, oh, I failed. Never. You only fail when you quit or give up, right? That's when you fail. But if you need to adjust, you need to change, everything I've done in the last 3 years has prepared me for my future. I didn't sit around and just mope around and couldn't find a job. I don't want to find a job. I'm my job, so yeah. So as an entrepreneur, good times, bad times, struggle up, struggle down, be all around, but never give up. So as we advance now, we're going to rent for 12 months and then we're going to look for a new house, right? So it's just a real good opportunity to take a bit of time. We're going to go home for a couple of weeks in July with the family. So get to enjoy that too. See my mom and dad. Yeah. And, dad's 92. Mom will be approaching mid to late 80s. If she ever saw this, she'd be laughing.
And mom is turning 49.
Again for the 40th time.
Somehow mom is younger than me, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's an exciting time for us. It's a change. It's, I've always been a risk taker, I guess, just, I don't know. Yeah. The first opportunity, one of the jobs,
like a bird, you just jump into the air and expect it to hold you, and it does.
Well, I'm not sure where I heard the phrase, but your parachute won't open until you jump, right?
Fair point.
So, if we're just building a parachute, but we're afraid to jump, we won't know if it works.
We
So
must
for
have
me,
some way of testing parachute.
yeah, yeah, jump in the water, I guess, or somewhere where you're gonna survive the land. But yeah, it's so yeah. The last 3 years, just kind of teaching me about me mostly, and then how to create that into a business with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So
Mm.
I was doing, or I did some network marketing with a group that I was pretty keen on it because it wasn't paper towels and soap. It was utilities,
Mm-hmm.
and so electricity and even phones. Phone plans and electricity, gas, phones. There was security systems for your house. All these things that are repeatable, right? And network marketing, of course. You find people to come in under you, and the more people they get, the more people you get, the more people they get, and make millions, right? Um, it was a tough gig, and I heard from one of my leaders in there that I was uncoachable, and I thought, I was a little pissed off about hearing it. Actually, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not uncoachable. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, yeah, well, she'd been telling me all kinds of different things to do because this is the network marketing program that you must
Right. You're
follow.
supposed to follow along. The upline
And,
has whatever they've
like,
been trained on.
well, I'm a seasoned sales guy. I've been in boardrooms, I've been in tiny shops, I've met clients, and, I'm used to meeting people. I don't have any issues like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't paying attention to what she was saying, and I wasn't doing the things she was telling me to do. So in her eyes, I was uncoachable. But I got all the excuses in the world of why I was uncoachable. But if I wasn't going to learn from her, I was uncoachable. So it was interesting to hear that, and then just again start thinking about what you're thinking about. Why didn't you do any of those exercises? Why didn't you get your database in your phone and start calling people, to make a success out of it? People don't mind a phone call, but if you're calling them
Some
every week,
people do.
yes, some people
Us
do.
millennials, we do not like phone calls.
Yeah, well, I guess not. That's true. But for my whole career in sales of, geez, 30 years now, I'm getting close to 30 years anyway, the phone has been the only means, you know. And going forward, I mean, we've got a lot more social media, which you're going to help me with. Thank you. Um, but the phone was, cold calling, right? Here's your list of people to call, probably with 3 or 4 columns on it, a name and a phone number. Call them and see if they want to buy an investment. Call them and see if they want to learn about something or whatever the deal was. That's
Yeah.
how I made a living. And there's only one phone call that I remember that I really pissed somebody off. And I pictured it in my mind after the phone call. It was like, wow, that guy must have been up on a ladder with a paintbrush in one hand and a light bulb in the other, trying to screw the light bulb in with one hand into the fixture up on the
And
step
then you
ladder.
have to call and ruin it all.
And I call, and the phone is in his back pocket. So now he's got to put the brush under here, and he's got to get his phone out, and he's got to answer the phone. And I said, yes, would you be interested in an investment? Fuck, fuck. He just freaked right out. So that's how I pictured him. And that was the only time. I mean, if you're courteous on the phone, someone's either not going to answer it and it's going to go to voicemail, or he's going to answer it and freak out with you. But of all the times, and I've tried to coach people on the phone too, like to make phone calls in our office, like, hey, well, here's your list. Let's go through it. You're going to screw it up 10 times, but on the 11th time, it's going to flow and you're going to feel a lot better about what you're saying. You're going to know what you're saying. You're going to believe in what you're saying, and you're going to make a sale. No one to get past 4 or 5.
Oh my goodness.
They'd always find something else to do. No, I don't want to make any more phone calls today. It's like, okay, well, and then you just, hey, how you doing today? And you always give the person a chance to respond before you go into any big long blurb. It's like, hey, this is Steve. I'm calling you from TriView. Would you be interested in looking at some of the investment opportunities we have?
But again, I see how your attitude towards yourself is what helps you to be successful. Because if I get somebody angry on the phone with me, what am I doing? I'm blaming myself. I'm thinking about what a terrible person I am for having called them. It would never occur to me to think about, oh, yeah, maybe they were, what's going on in their life that made them sensitive or tense about it.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're sitting in a comfortable office with your coffee, you're making a phone call, you're great. And all of a sudden they get pissed off. Well, what are they getting pissed off about? Something in their life. And they're just using the phone call as the vent, right? Yeah. So, but in the 4 agreements,
because I definitely get derailed into everything is my own fault, and I don't give enough credit to, like, there's other things happening in the world. It's not all about you.
Well, that's right. Nobody cares. And I've come to learn that from the Dean Graziosi program that we did, the Knowledge Broker Blueprint, which was an excellent program. We had to, write out things and then read them into the camera, so we're going to now post this video on Facebook. I was like, I'm not posting this video on Facebook. I'm not posting this video on Facebook. And you read it again and do it again. Nope, I'm not posting that one. No. And eventually it was like, I think it was probably the 3rd or 4th exercise, like 3 or 4 days into the program. And it's like, I've seen some of the people, because everybody posts on that Facebook page, right? So I can certainly do better than some of the people. Can't do as good as all the people that, there's a whole bunch of them up there that are really knowing what they're doing, but I can do it. So I took the camera, shot it 30 seconds, posted it, and didn't get one like or one comment. So it's like, okay, well, nobody cares. Nobody's really watching anyway, right? So that was the first, but to do that, what a huge hurdle that was. It was like, oh, that's uphill all the way.
Out of your comfort zone there.
Yeah, right. And I can stand in front of a group and I can present, and that was all sales, right? Did that all my life, so no problem there. But to put it on video on Facebook, yeah, no, right? So, but anyway, getting over that hurdle, no problem. And then probably last year, Matthew Bigger here in Calgary did a 30-day challenge, 30-day video challenge for LinkedIn. So now, not just is it on Facebook, but now it's LinkedIn challenge. So it's, I think it was keep the videos under 2 minutes. He'd give you a topic to speak about during the day, and then a tip on how to present or how to angle or how to, show the right side and get the lighting correct on your, whatever you're doing, which I probably haven't done very well today. But
my cat chewed through my ring light, so work with what we have. My cat eats wires.
Got a new light here myself.
Oh, nice.
Get that set up. We get set up in the new place.
Sweet.
Yeah. So sorry, we were on a tangent there, I think, and
we're gonna have to wrap up pretty soon, though.
Okay. Well,
I love chatting with you, but I've got a meeting at 2. So
okay. So we're 2 minutes away.
We got 10 minutes left. So what big takeaway would you like to leave people with?
attitude is probably one of the first things you show anybody, right? Is your attitude. And if it's shitty, everybody's going to know and nobody's going to want to deal with you. And so if you can smile and see the glass half full, even if you got to fake it for a little while, you'll really appreciate the response people provide as opposed to a reaction, because a shitty attitude lots of times will get reactions, and it just helps compile, your self-loathing, and just, everything gets frustrating and mean, and that's no way to treat yourself. So have a good attitude that you can present to people, and then be grateful for everything you have. Like, that's another full course about being grateful. Like, being grateful to be able to see, be grateful for your breathing, being able to walk, or being able to talk to someone, or watch TV, whatever it is, be grateful and write it down. Write it down. Start your day with 10 things you're grateful for. And it's a great way to start your day. You'll feel better. Being grateful sets you up for receiving as well. So if there's some energy that you're waiting for, some ideas that you're waiting for, being grateful will set your mind up to be able to receive it. Right? So yeah, have a good attitude, be grateful. Was something about the glass half full that you had mentioned a while back. I wanted to bring up again, but I can't think of what it was right now. I did have a few notes. There's a couple of tips I found from Lolly Daskal. I have no idea who she is, but if there's a better way to do something, find it. That comes with change, right? If there's a better way to do something, find a better way to do it. Because if it's frustrating or time consuming, or you're just not enjoying it, then stop doing it. You got to make time for yourself, right? That's another thing we talked about, was self-image. In order to have a good attitude, I think you probably got to have a good self-image, and that is a constant thing to think about, because if you don't have a good self-image, everything you do, you tear yourself up about, right? It's like, stupid, I'll never get to do that, or whatever, right? It just adds to that pile of confusion and self-loathing, and
holds you back. It holds you back because you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you can do these big things.
Yeah. And that energy that you have with a good attitude and being grateful, will attract energy like that. If you've got a shitty attitude and you hate yourself and you're down on yourself all the time and you don't do much, you're going to attract that, right? So, if there's something that you want to do, start thinking about it. Start thinking about yourself. Think about how you present yourself. Do you need a new wardrobe? Do you need to dress up a little bit more? Maybe a haircut, get a shave, get a new shirt, new jacket, new pair of pants, a new pair of shoes, and show up somewhere at some networking event and see how people approach you. You will meet people, right? But if you show up there and you're looking kind of sloppy and you didn't take the time to comb your hair or fix anything about your suit or iron your shirt,
then just make sure you go in with a double big positive personality. Then people won't notice.
Yeah, I mean, not that that's a requirement, but it certainly helps if people are going to be approaching you, to meet people or anything like that. Just the attitude is everything, right? The attitude and the energy that you're bringing. So self-image, like fix your self-image. If there's something that you can do and it's a consistent thing, you got to work on it every day. But you only have to be one little bit better than you were yesterday. Keep doing that every day, and then a week later, you're 7 times, or you've done 7 things to improve your mindset and your self-image. And all of a sudden, you start realizing, hey, I'm thinking better now. I'm doing things differently, and it's, this is the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, show up, take care of yourself, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. That was a good one, I thought.
Yeah.
The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn will always be up to you. And when you're open to learning, you're open to growing. There.
I love that.
Charcoal Charlie's tip for the day.
Okay.
Think and be positive, and positive things will happen. It's true, right?
Yeah.
And gratitude turns what you have into enough. Being grateful. Set your day up perfectly by writing out 10 things that you're grateful for every day. And pretty soon, hey, you know what? I've got a lot to be grateful for. And hey, you know what? We're doing all right. I think we are doing all right. We're doing pretty good. Damn, we're doing really good. That's how it happens, right? It's a consistent daily thing. You look after yourself, your attitude towards people, it'll all come back to you, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think that was some great insight and mindset tips. So hopefully people got some good ideas and takeaways, even if it's just one thing, to be working on improving and learning and growing so that you can get out of your own way towards your success.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to click the end button now and wrap this up.